Hi students, welcome to English 120. I wanted to just make this video to really welcome you to the class and just go over the syllabus with you. I think that can kind of help to have, just say hello and kind of go over, and maybe that might alleviate any questions that you might have about the syllabus or anything like that. So my name is Kelly Ryan, and I'm your instructor for English 120. Really excited to be here. Really excited to have you in class. And if you've taken other classes from me, I saw some familiar names on the roster. I was really excited to have you in class again. That's exciting. If you're have not taken class before, I'm really excited to have you here. So here we go with the semester. So just to who is this person standing here? So my name is Kelly Ryan. I've been teaching at Napa Valley College since 2014, and I've been teaching English at the college level since 2006. Wow, that sounds like a long time right now. So I also teach at another community college, and I'm also working in the writing center at Napa Valley College this semester, which is online now. So I wanted to just go over the syllabus with you. So you'll have it on Canvas, and so you can kind of go along as we go through this. All right. So I have my contact information up to. Oh, I am just realizing I must have inadvertently deleted it. My Napa Valley College email is a fine way to contact me, and I think it comes up on your Canvas information. For some reason, it's missing here in the syllabus, so I'm sorry about that. But it's a great way to contact me. It's great, so don't hesitate to do that. kryan at napavalley.edu off the top of my head. So you could write that in, kryan at napavalley.edu. All right, or I also have an AT&T email. That's fine as well. So there you go. There's another one. But here's my best. Oh, Canvas messaging, also very good. My best method though is my cell phone. So that's on here, and I am really good with a text normally. So that is my quickest method usually that I can get back to you. But you do what you're comfortable with. So I'm very happy to hear from you. You could also call. You can call. Leave a message if I'm available, I'll answer, and if I'm not, I'll get back to you. But it's my goal to get back to you in a timely manner. Again, quickest is the text. There may be sometimes that I'm just not available right away. I have other classes. I teach at another school. I'm in the writing center, and have, meetings and other responsibilities. So I'm kind of wearing a lot of hats. But I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible because I really value hearing from you. I love talking to students. So that brings me to also say I have office hours on Mondays and Thursdays via the phone. And so how you would do that is it's Mondays and Thursdays from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., meaning 12:30 that's right after noon, not 12:30 like midnight 12:30. That would be like I would be very sleepy talking to you then, but at any rate. So I'd be happy to talk to you. And the way that you would do that is you would just send me a text or call me, and I'll text you back or call or pick up the phone, and we will talk. If I'm with another student talking to them, I will get back to you just as soon as I can. If that time is not good for you, that is totally understandable. Just contact me, and let's figure out a time that is good for both of us, and we will talk. All right. So I would love to do that. All right, so there is all of that. That's the contact info. Right at the top is the grading, how your grade is comprised. I like to put it right at the top because I think it's really helpful to know how do I get my grade, right? So 60% of the grade comes from your essays, and included with that is an annotated bibliography. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but that counts as an essay. It helps you to get ready for your final research paper. So that is the bulk. I mean, that's the highest category. So that means that you have to get those papers in. If you were to not turn a paper in, you would get a 0 on it, and that can wreak havoc with your grade. So it is very hard to pass the class if you have a 0 on a paper. It just puts your grade into a tailspin. So you don't need that. You need to just get it in by the deadline. You will have the opportunity to revise at least the first two papers, not the final paper. We don't have any time, and likely not the third paper. So and the annotated bibliography can't be revised. The first two are the ones that you can revise. So get it in, and then you would have the opportunity to still, revise. Of course, do your best, but definitely get it in. All right, so next category is the homework category. That one is 20% of your overall grade. I think sometimes human nature, we say 20%. Not so much. I don't think I need to stress out about doing homework this semester. No, that would be not the best strategy, because it actually is very significant. And what I've seen is that even if a student's doing really great on the papers, if they don't do much in the way of homework, it can plunge their grade down like an entire letter grade, sometimes two, depending on where the other numbers are in the other categories. So you don't want that. I mean, even if you did half of the homework, that's a failing grade in that category. So you really want to keep up with that. That's really important to do. The other thing is it builds the skills to help you do well on the papers. So, all right, and then there's a presentation that is 10% of your overall grade. You have a choice of when and what to present on. You can either present for essay number 2, which is an expository essay, or the final paper, which is your research paper. So you have a choice. 10% of your overall grade, and again, human nature, we go 10%. I don't like presentations, you might say. But again, you really want to do it. You want to keep all of your categories full. Because you want to be successful, and that is what helps you to do that, is to keep all those categories full. So you should turn it in. There is a silver lining in this pandemic in this regard, because normally we would be presenting in person, and I know that can be a little stressful. But in this case, how you're doing that presentation is you will be doing it via either Google Slides or PowerPoint or another slide format, or you will be creating an original YouTube video to do the presentation, but the only person that is going to view your presentation is me. So if you're feeling shy, it's only me, and I'm like really approachable. So it's good, right? So that's a silver lining with that. So you got to make sure that you do get that in. I have, as we get closer to, we'll go over all this, and the prompt and good stuff like that, right? So, but at any rate, so that's the presentation. You do want to get that in. And quizzes are 10% of your overall grade. Once we get rolling, we will have a quiz every other week on Fridays. So they will be on the readings. We are reading a series of classic short stories, and the quizzes will be on those stories. They're always on Fridays, the quizzes. They are timed, they are closed book. But the week before, I will post a study guide, and that will have questions about the story for you to study and go over. And that is designed to help you to be successful on those quizzes. I take the questions, the regular questions, I take straight from the study guide. So all of my quizzes are in the format of 4 questions and a bonus question. All of the regular questions come straight from the study guide. So for example, say the study guide has approximately 10 questions. 4 of those will be on the quiz, 4 of those exact questions. The bonus might be from the study guide. It might be something more specific about the story or the author, because it's bonus, right? So there's that. So that is designed to really help you to, again, be successful. All right. So, and again, you want to do the quizzes. I don't do any makeups for quizzes. It's too complicated, honestly. So you just really have to be there, and I don't mean be in person, but you have to be there online taking that quiz when it is scheduled. All right. I don't do makeup quizzes. I cannot unlock a quiz for you. It's just not really, it's not fair to the other students that are taking that quiz at the right time. And plus, it's super complicated on my end. So you've got to just take it at the right time. The other thing you don't want to do is to start taking the quiz and then, yeah, I don't know, wander off or something and, go do your laundry or something like that. I mean, I say that because it could happen. We're at home. It's like, the dryer just went off, right? And I think I got to do that, right? No, don't do that during the quiz because it will time out. And then you will be like, whoa, what happened? I have clean laundry, but I have a 0. Well, that's a sad state of affairs. So just really be mindful of that situation. It's a little different online, right? Okay, so there's all of that. I think that is what I was going to say. All right, so I'm going to let you guys peruse this rationale and student learning outcomes because I think you can do that individually. So I don't want to put you to sleep in the first video. Oh, she's still talking. What's going on here? All right, so and anyway, so we're going to look at format and procedures for late work. So I do have a policy of a grace period of 1 week for essays and homework that is past the deadline. So I do take off points for those essays that come in late, but I take off 10 points. So if it is even 1 day past the deadline, you are getting that 10 points off. But 10 points is really, I think, quite reasonable compared to getting a 0. And, it's better to get 10 points off but get it in than to get a 0. So I do give that extra week on that. So that because things in life can happen and I don't need to know the reason. But here's the caveat with that is that you have to get it in within that grace period. So you have to get it in before the assignment locks. Once it is locked, it's done. I can't unlock, it's too complicated to unlock it and I need to keep everybody on the same page. So we're all in this together, but we all need to have the same criteria, the same due dates, and all of that, right? So if you miss that grace period and now the assignment is locked, it's done. You gotta let it go. All right. So get it in before that happens. Homework also, same idea is that you just need to get that in. I do give that 1 week grace period, but you have to get it in within that week because the assignment will lock. Now, there are some exceptions to that. The final paper has no grace period. So that is the final research paper. That is a firm deadline. There is no grace period because we don't have time. I don't have time. I have to get all the grading done and my grades submitted. So we just don't have time. And the last homework assignments too that are like in that late of the semester category, we just don't have time for a grace period. So, and if there's any other kind of exception, I guess I would explain that at the time. It's just that. All right, so that's the late policy. The other thing is the assignments. It does say in here the assignments need to be submitted in the Canvas submission box only. I cannot be receiving them via email or Canvas messaging or some other format. They have to be in the Canvas submission box, meaning everybody needs to be on the same page doing the same thing. I don't want to miss your assignment because it came in some other format. That just is not workable. So it all has to be in the Canvas submission box. Okay. All right. And then, so course requirements, I already talked about no makeup quizzes, so you can peruse that at your leisure. All right, so then I'm going to talk about the textbook, and I'm going to talk about the textbook. So, if those of you have taken a previous class from me, you might be like, wow, does she love this textbook? I so do. So I'm going to talk about it right now. I love this textbook, and it's called Steps to Writing Well. So if you're like, oh my goodness, I used that textbook before, right? But we are doing some different chapters this time. We've got a research paper we're doing, we've got citing sources we're doing, and things like that. So what I love about this textbook is that it can take us from our beginning of our journey with composition, and it can take us to a high level of our journey with composition. So so that's why I like, so there is a little bridge, there is a bridge of connection, I think, which I think is really important as well, because it helps us to scaffold what we have learned to what we are doing. And if you're never heard this book before, that's okay too, because it's still building on some skills that you have learned in previous classes, and then it scaffolds it to where we're going next. All right. And so, yeah, so there's that. And there are used copies available normally. Online at less expensive, even previous editions at very low cost. So it doesn't bother me if you have a previous edition. Just the page numbers do shift. So if that is something that would stress you out, you want to just go with the regular version, which is the 13th. All right, there's an ISBN, which I'll just put right there. I hope you can see that. Okay. The other book is called The Reading. The one that has the stories in it is called Literature and Its Writers. It's in here, so you can look it on the syllabus. I can't find my copy. It's somewhere. So the editors are Charters, and Charters in the syllabus. You can get that. There's a bit of an issue with that, but I think it's going to be beneficial to you. It's going to end up working out for the best. But the book recently went out of print, so that's a bit of an issue. So the bookstore is having problems getting it, but that's okay, because the good news for you is all the stories that we are working with from that book are available free online. I'm not going to post them. You're going to have to use your research skills a bit, like your Google research skills. So all of the stories, which are in the reading and assignment schedule, are past the copyright date except for one, and it is also available free online. They're all available free online. So you can actually just Google the story and get it online free and read it that way. So you can do that. In addition to that, Literature and Its Writers can also be found at some low-cost prices at various websites online. It really doesn't matter what version you use, because the stories that we are working with are in every version. If you get the actual print book, there are some benefits to that, because there are some scholarly articles for every story that you could actually use as really good sources for your research paper, and interviews with the authors and things like that could be helpful. So, but if you want to do a money saving strategy, you can literally Google the stories, and they're free. All right. All right. So, and if you have any trouble accessing them or something, let me know. But I've never had anybody have any trouble. It's a win-win on that. All right. So, that's the book. So essays. Again, the essay category, all of the papers are 3 to 5 pages, with the exception of the final paper, which is 5 to 7 pages, because it is a research paper and you need the time and space to incorporate that research. So you need more pages. All right. So the first essay is a narrative essay called The Right Words at the Right Time, that is based on a book where the author talks about, interviews a variety of different people who heard just the right words at the right time, and it made a difference in their life. So you can read through that and think about that topic. So all of that, I have a mini prompt for all of the papers right here in the syllabus, so that you can start thinking ahead about, your what you want to write about within the realm of that topic, if you would like to. There will also be longer prompts as we get closer to for each essay, but the mini prompts give you kind of an overview and give you some specifics that you can start thinking about what you want to write about. So that's the right words at the right time. All the deadlines are also posted here by the papers, plus they're in the reading and assignment schedule too. All right, so then the next one is called the expository essay. This is a how-to paper, in the sense of you're teaching your reader how to do something, which can be a variety of different, like, hobbies or anything like that. It has to be all paragraph level, has to be all English 120 level, with good essay skills, and all of that. We'll go over that as we get closer to. That is one option you have for doing your presentation. The presentation is graded separately. Remember, it's 10% of your overall grade, but you could do it on that topic or the final paper, all right? So then next comes the argument essay. So we are going to really work on our argument skills and really enhance those critical thinking skills, with the topic for this one is to work with the positives or negatives of social media. So I've gone into some details in the mini prompt that might some questions to kind of get you started on that and to think about which side you're leaning to. And we'll work with that as we get closer, but kind of you might start thinking about that. That's the argument paper. All right. And then we have next the annotated bibliography. That counts as a research paper. So what that is about is it is, in a nutshell, it is a document that has a list of your sources that you will be using for the research paper. And you might be saying, but wait, what am I writing my research paper on? So what you'll be doing for the research paper will be writing about one of the stories, one of the short stories that we are reading in class. You will have an idea that you have about one of those stories that you will work with for the final paper. So then your annotated bibliography will be a document that lists the sources, MLA style, for every source that you will be using for that research paper. And then there are some specific requirements where you write about the source. So for example, you list your source, here's source 1, MLA style. You write a paragraph about how you located the source, like literally how did you find it? Which could be, there are some great databases we'll be talking about that are available in the library online now, Napa Valley College Library. So I know we're all online and we have to do everything online, but honestly, it's kind of that's how research is mainly done today. But when I was doing this initially, you'd have to go to the library, get your stack of books, and do your weightlifting and walk out with those. But that's not the norm anymore. It's now online. So we have great databases at Napa Valley College that you can access some really good sources. So we'll be talking about that as we get closer to the research paper. So you'll be talking about how you found the source, like literally how did you search for it and that sort of thing. And then you will be giving a paragraph, for example, about what the source is about. How do you know that it's a reliable source and not, it was written by Professor so-and-so who has experience in this field or whatever, right? How do you know it's a reliable source? We'll talk more about this as we get closer, and you'll be talking about how specifically this source will help you to write your paper, right? So by doing this annotated bibliography, it will set you up for success to write a good research paper. There is nothing worse than having a research paper due and postponing it, procrastinating, and all of a sudden it's coming really close, like it's due the next day or something drastic. Don't do this to yourself, but anyway. And then you're like, I don't have any sources, and you're freaking out, and you grab some sources that just, they have the right title in there. Hopefully those will work. And then when you look at them, they're about your story, but not your idea, and then you're really freaking out. So to avoid all that confusion, if you do an annotated bibliography, this sets you up for success in writing the research paper because you have good sources, you know what those sources are about, you've had to look at them because you have to write about them. So that really sets you up for success, and that's why I count it as a paper. And also, you have to know how to do an annotated bibliography to continue really in your college career. So you're going to do it here. So there will be a prompt for that as well as we get closer to. And finally, the research paper. Again, it's 5 to 7 pages. It will be about one of the short stories that we're reading in class and about an idea you have about that short story. We'll talk about that more as we get closer to. Again, the presentation, you can choose to present for the expository essay, or you can choose to present for that final paper about your same topic, your idea. For example, I'm going to give you an example. One of the stories that we read during the semester is called The Yellow Wallpaper, and it's about a woman that, a fictional story, but it was based on a true story, that the woman had what we would now term as postpartum depression, but this was during the 19th century. They had no medical understanding of that, and the actual medical treatment that the protagonist goes through in the story is being confined to a room. So confined to a room, go sit in your room. So there's a lot more to it than that, but in a nutshell, that is not very helpful as far as a medical treatment, perhaps, right? So you might decide to write about that. You might decide to write about postpartum depression and maybe how not having the correct support could be, tragic or something, right? So that is an example of an idea, and you're working with the story. So then you need sources about maybe postpartum depression, or maybe about, scholars that have researched the story, things like that. So that gives you an example. All right. So the presentation then you would present, if you're presenting for the final paper, would be on that same topic. All right, fine. We've talked about quizzes. We've talked about homework. Some extra credit will come up from time to time. I did mention the extra credit from the quizzes. And please do it. I do give partial credit. So if you do have to miss a quiz, this is a perk. If you do have to miss a quiz, which I don't do makeup quizzes, as I mentioned, but if you get the extra credit question, the bonus question, if you get all the bonus questions on the other quizzes and you only miss one quiz, all of those bonus question extra credit points will make up for one missing quiz. In fact, it will give you an A on that missing quiz. So that's a really good strategy just in case you do have to miss a quiz for some reason. Otherwise, it just boosts you up. So it's still worth doing. All right, so there's some other extra credit likely that will happen during the semester. So if that's the case, it's a great idea to take advantage of if you can. If you're overwhelmed, it's optional. So there you go. But otherwise, it can boost you up and points-wise, and then it can give you your skills a boost as well. All right, we're going to look at academic integrity. This is a very serious and profound issue. I'm just going to read this a little bit. It says, any work submitted by a student in this course for academic credit will be the student's own work. So that means that if you are using a source, you give credit to that person who had that idea, who gave that quote, or whatever the idea is, right? So you don't try to present it as your own. I think people do this out of stress often. We've saved things to the last minute and now we're all stressed out, and there's that internet, right? So you want to give that credit to who said the quote, to who, where this information came from. If you were to present someone's ideas, like you get an article from the internet and you put your own name on it and present this like this is my paper, but actually it came from the internet, that's a major problem. It's considered to be intellectual theft. It really throws our integrity at Napa Valley College into a tailspin. Because we're saying you have certain skills if you have passed these classes, and if that's how you pass, you don't have those skills really. So it's a big problem, and it would get you a 0 on the assignment. It's very easy for me to spot, honestly. I've been reading your writing, and just I can spot it quite easily. And I have a master's degree in English, so I'm really good at research, and it breaks my heart to have to use my research skills in this particular format. But I have to uphold the integrity of Napa Valley College. So that would get you a 0. And that's just a shame, right? So that would likely wreak havoc with your grade, cause you to fail the class often. In addition to that, it would mean that you would likely have to meet with an official person from Napa Valley College, likely a vice president, that would have an interview and hearing with you to determine if you get to stay at Napa Valley College, because they can actually ask you to leave the college. It is an ethics violation. They can also give you that ethics violation on your permanent record. This is a major problem, that it can really wreck your aspects of your future. So, for example, let's say you were going into the field of criminal justice and you want to apply to the FBI or the CIA or something like that. They look for ethics violations. You don't want to have that. If you're transferring to a university, especially if that university is a private university or a religious institution, they look for ethics violations often. So you want to avoid all of that brouhaha, and just, make sure you're doing your own work. Make sure you're giving credit to any ideas that you have, right? That you have accessed from the internet. In addition, you don't want to work with someone else on your quiz or something like that. And you have, if I have like 2 students that have identical or very similar wording. That is very unusual. And if that were to happen and there's copying like that, that's a zero too. So you want to just avoid all these bizarre situations and just do your own work. It's always better to get honestly an honest C than it is to go this treacherous route, right? So well, that was all very depressing, right? So, but at any rate, you want to avoid those depressing scenarios and keep your future bright. All right, so let's move on from that. And after this, the following page, we have accommodations for students with disabilities. So if you have any kind of a disability that you would like some support on that could affect your learning at Napa Valley College, we have a great disability service program. They're now online. So please do go to the Napa Valley College website and access that. So you can, they have great counselors and tutoring, and just they have so many great resources to help students. So, and if you're not sure but you think that might be helpful to you, do contact them. They also have some official paperwork that you can give to me via online that lets me know how to best support your learning. So do ask about that. And if you are interested in any of that, and you're not connecting with them or not successful in connecting with them, do talk to me, because I want to support you in your learning. All right, now after this we have the reading and assignment schedule. So I have these posted. It has the date. All the assignments are due on Fridays at 11:59 p.m. unless otherwise specified. It's very unusual to have it at a different time, but there may be something that takes longer or something like that I would need to change it, but it's rare. So just, you just need to keep up with that. So I'm going to tell you first. The first assignment you'll see posted is to introduce yourself and connect with a couple of other students. So that's always nice to make that connection. Feel free to really exchange contact information. Of course, you can have the same quiz I just said, of course, but you can study together and you can, make some nice connections during this time that we're all, kind of isolated. So that can be very nice to do. And I'll leave you to do that on your own. It's a little unwieldy for me to manage that in this format. But I encourage you to do that, all right? And then for the first reading is going to be The Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin and Desiree's Baby by Kate Chopin. 2 short stories, same author. Again, if you either have the book Literature Writers or you're getting it, that gives you some time to get it, or you can Google the stories and get them online. In addition to that, in Steps to Writing Well, in a chapter called Writing About Literature, The Story of an Hour is in this book. It is chapter, well, I don't know. It seems like it's like 15 or something. It might not be that. I'll let you find it. It's called Writing About Literature, and it's another chapter we're going to be doing later on. But The Story of an Hour is in this book, so you can find it there as well. But you need to read those 2 stories. The Story of an Hour is a super short story. Well, I mean, it's just very short. They're both super stories, but it's short. Desiree's Baby is a bit longer. And so you're going to read those 2 short stories. I will have a quiz review / study guide available on the 29th, that Friday, and then the first quiz will be the following week on February 5th. So you do have a little bit of time to access the stories, all right? So I'll let you peruse, this is my new favorite word, I'll let you peruse the reading assignment schedule. It's all in there, of the quizzes, the paper dates, all of that is in there, including when spring break is and things like that. All right. So that I just wanted to welcome you officially to the class and just say to you welcome. And I'm so happy to have you in the class, and I'm really excited about this semester. So let's have a great semester.